let me ask you something. When I say multiplication table, what's the first feeling that pops into your head? I'm willing to bet for a lot of us, it's this little knot of anxiety, right? A flashback to pressure, maybe even some shame. It's almost like a generational trauma we've all been through, this weird shared nightmare from our school days. So today, we're going to unpack that. We're going to figure out why this simple math concept has caused so much pain, and way more importantly, how we can finally fix it for our kids. All right, let's get into it. To really get to the heart of this thing, we have to start with the human side of it. I mean, these aren't just numbers on a page, are they? For literally generations of students, they were a source of real, genuine fear. And these next couple of stories, well, they show you just how deep it goes. I mean, just listen to that. That is so visceral. This isn't just a bad memory, it's a literal nightmare. Professor Gersickel's words paint this terrifying picture of how the pressure to memorize just became this awful threat in a child's mind. The goal wasn't about learning something cool, it was just about not getting punished.
And that fear, it didn't just go away when we grew up. Oh no, it got passed down. This quote from journalist Janka Tokbosh. It's the modern parent's version of that same struggle. Your family life, your car rides, even dinner, everything turns into a battlefield for memorization. The cycle of pressure just keeps on spinning, turning what should be precious family time into this relentless, soul-crushing drill. So, you have to ask, right? If millions upon millions of kids and parents have been struggling with this for decades, is the problem with all of us, or is the problem with the method itself? Well, the evidence points overwhelmingly to one single culprit.
So let's put a name to our villain. In Turkish, the word is ezber. It means memorizing by heart, just repeating something over and over again without ever understanding why. Think of it this way. It's like someone telling you to build a house by memorizing the exact placement of every single brick, but they never tell you what a foundation is or why it matters. You might get the first few bricks right, sure, but the whole thing, it's just doomed to fall apart.
And here it is. Here is the proof. Scientific research into performance. It has found that a staggering 98% of errors are not caused by the person, but by the system they're stuck in. So think about that. For every kid who felt stupid or bad at math, there was a 98% chance it was never their fault. The system of Esber, it failed them.
This quote from the systems thinker Peter Senge just hits the nail on the head. Rote memorization, that was yesterday's solution for mass education. But today, in a world that needs creative, critical thinkers, that old, outdated solution has become the source of our problem. It's literally creating widespread math anxiety.
So who figured this all out, and what did they decide to do about it? Well, to answer that, we need to meet the teacher who saw this deep wound in our society and pretty much dedicated his life to trying to heal it.
This is Najib Guven. Now, after 26 years as a classroom teacher, he saw it all firsthand. He saw the damage that Esber was doing year after year. He saw the fear, the frustration, all that lost potential. And instead of just accepting it as the way things are, he decided to fight back.
Can you imagine? You're a teacher, you figured out this better, more logical way to teach math, and then you go online and you see that the number one thing desperate parents are searching for is a shortcut to the very method that's causing all the pain in the first place. For Guven, this was just heartbreaking. He knew he had to give them a real solution, not just another trick for the wrong method.
And his solution, his whole approach, is built on one single powerful idea. It's a shift in how we think that is so simple, but honestly, it's so profound that it changes absolutely everything. Let's break it down.
Okay, let me start with a question that's going to challenge the very first thing we were all taught. We were told to say 2 times 3. But what if that phrase itself is the problem? What if that's where we go wrong from the very beginning?
Okay, here it is. This is the big aha moment. The old way, the Esber way, just gives you 2 times 3 equals 6 as this random fact you have to cram into your brain. But the logical way, it flips it. It explains the why. It rephrases 3 times 2 as 3 groups of 2. And what are 3 2s? Well, it's just 2 plus 2 plus 2. All of a sudden, multiplication isn't some scary new table you have to memorize. It's just a faster way of doing addition, something kids already get. And this is the absolutely crucial point. Think of it like buttoning up a shirt. If you mess up that first button, nothing else is going to line up right. It's all going to be crooked. Teaching math as logic from the very, very start, that is the first button.
It makes sure that every single concept that comes later has a solid foundation to build on. Okay, so understanding the logic, that's step one. That makes sense. But how do you actually teach it in a way that sticks? And in a way that doesn't just turn back into those boring old drills? Well, the answer is you make it feel like a game. Najib Guven came up with what he calls the Sarmal Yontem, or the spiral method, and it's so intuitive it just makes sense. First, you make it physical. You use blocks or coins or toy cars to actually create groups of numbers. Second, you connect it to their world. You talk about buying 3 pieces of candy that cost 5 cents each. And third, and this is the most important part, you make it a game. Turn it into a fun challenge or a puzzle or a story. And this right here, this is the result. This biology teacher, Kublai Ipek, tells this incredible story. He taught a young boy multiplication using this logic of grouping, but he used the boy's favorite toy cars to do it. And the kid learned it so fast, so well, that his older brother, who was still stuck in that old rote memorization system, he actually broke down in tears of frustration, asking how did he do it? And the answer was so simple. It was just child's play. So why does all this matter so much? Because, this isn't just some new math trick. It is a fundamental shift in how we approach learning. It takes a subject that creates fear and anxiety and turns it into a source of curiosity. It builds a child's confidence up instead of tearing it down. And maybe best of all, it transforms what can be a nightly source of family arguments into a chance to play, to connect, and to learn together. The source material shares this beautiful little parable about an old man who's building a bridge that he knows he'll never get to cross himself. And when someone asks him why he's doing it, he says, "I'm building it for the youth who will follow me." By saying no to Esber, by choosing logic and play, we are building that bridge for our children, a bridge over this chasm of math anxiety. And that just leaves us with one final thought. What other broken bridges from our own schooling are we leaving behind? And what can we do, starting today, to begin repairing them?